Yes, and I'm going to do you one better and kind of share my experiences going back and forth with some of these businesses just so you can kind of get an idea, because if they know you're just regurgitating questions and you don't fully understand what you're asking, they're gonna eat you alive, okay? One question I always ask is if a chain is solid or hollow. When I was in Portugal, I had a 3mm solid 18 karat gold Figaro chain that was 18 inches. I went into a shop and I asked the lady, I said, hey, I would like to trade this for some Portuguese gold. Do you have anything that would be of value? And she goes, oh, I got something even better. And she shows me a chain that looks like this, a rope chain, right? Already not really interested. And she goes, 3mm, 18 inches like yours. And like, feel it, feel it. I hold it, super light. I look at the end clasp and I'm like, it's 14 karat gold. And she's like, yeah, that one's 14. And I said, and I didn't ask. I said, this is a hollow chain. And she goes, yeah, those chains, you will never find them in solid gold because they will only be made hollow. Because do you see the design? Look at the intricate design. I can see through the fucking chain. That's how hollow it is, right? And I have a solid one at home. But you see the type of like confidence that they just have to say something like that as if it's just fact when it's not true? You know, so like asking solid, hollow, important. Another question I like asking is if they can weigh the chain for me so I could see what the gram weight is. Now, typically these places have hang tags with all the specs, like the white tag that you see on the end clasp of the chain. And then you can go, okay, yeah, that matches. And the reason I say this is because that is how you calculate the number you're gonna throw out if you wanna buy the chain. And I have a whole separate video of that about how to account for a reasonable markup so that you have a range of what you're willing to pay for it, all right? Another question I ask is specific to these chains right here. These are Cuban link chains. And these have been so desirable for such a long time. People want Cuban links because they're sexy, they're sleek, and they're durable, they're heavy, right? So a lot of people will go in and they'll be, oh man, this is nice, I like this. They're gonna look at the price tag and go, holy shit, that's expensive. And when the jeweler hears that, they go, you know why it's expensive? Because it's a Cuban link chain. The type of, have you ever seen anybody make a Cuban link chain? The labor that goes behind making those pieces, it takes a lot of effort, blah, blah, blah. And I'll look at it and it'll be probably the size of this one, which is like 3.2 or like a smaller Cuban link. And then I'll go, is it machine made? And they're like, yeah, that one's machine made, yeah. Okay, so why'd you just go on a whole spiel saying that it's super expensive because of the labor, but it's actually machine made like every single chain here? Now, I understand places having to pay for rent. I understand paying for your bills, electricity, but being way greedy on a price tag with something and trying to back it as if, oh yeah, because it, like as if it's a handmade chain and it's not, get out of my ass with that. It's crazy talk to me. Now, another thing with Cuban links, and you know what, with people that hand make jewelry, typically, they don't have, if you go to a gold shop or just like pawn shop, whatever, you'll usually see like a glass counter and it's filled with gold chains. If you see that, those chains are typically, I'm like 99% sure those chains are all machine made from the same like manufacturers. That those are brought, those are imported chains. Those are not like made from the person behind the counter. Usually people that hand make chains, they don't just make everything and have it on display. Usually they are asking their customer, their client, okay, what kind of chain do you want? And because again, it takes a lot of effort. So they're not just gonna randomly make everything that you see there. So keep that in mind that a lot of these places, that gold is from like the same manufacturers from Peru, Italy, the United States. There's other places too. But I mean, like, if you know what, I'm gonna say it, fuck it. All right, when you look at the end clasp of your chain, sometimes, well, usually you see the purity of the chain and like a country of origin stamp. Like you'll see like an Italy stamp if it's made in Italy or something like that, right? But some places they have their the brand like logo or the brand name stamped to their end clasp, right? But a lot of places are like, I don't want to swap out the end clasp and then put my stamp on. I'm just going to sell it as is, the way that the manufacturer gave it to me. So you'll see on there, be like, huh, I wonder what this is, because that's not, like, I didn't buy from a place like this. That's the manufacturer of where the chain comes from. And, you know, typically those, with manufacturers, people always ask, can I just buy it straight from there? I mean, sometimes you can, but usually, like, they set, like, you know, you have to buy it in bulk, right? That's the reason, yeah, you have to buy in bulk. They're not just going to give, like, one-off chains, you know, anyways. So, handmade versus machine made. This isn't so much of a question to ask. I mean, of course you ask, is it new? Is it used? Right? That's an important way to kind of gauge, like, what you would negotiate with it. Because if for these places, if you're selling a used chain, of course they're going to try to pay less, because they'll tell you, oh, it's used. But when they're trying to sell you a used chain, they're going to be like, oh, but it's actually, look how in good condition it is. And all of a sudden it's like, used chains are great. You know, it's whatever their incentive is. Now, this is something that I have heard, that kind of, I've gotten like the fish out of water reaction to, is when jewelers and like some pawn shops would tell me, oh yeah, high purity, you can't wear that. Even like 18 karat can be too soft. That's why, you know, wearing something that's 10 karat, 14 karat, it's really durable. You're really getting your money's worth for the durability of it. I'm like, no, I like high purity. It's like, no, but you can't wear that. And I'm like, but I am, and I have been. Like and they're just like, oh, what is it? I'm like, this is 22 karat. Just so y'all know, this is a solid 22 karat gold Miami Cuban link chain. All right, it's 3.2 millimeters. This is a solid 24 karat gold cross chain. All right, but cross crucifix pendant. And they're like, oh, you wear that daily? Yes. Like, oh yeah, well, you know, you can't really say anything to it, right? Asian jewelers, they already know. With Asian jewelers, and Asian includes also the Middle East, okay? They know about high purity from like 21 up, that yeah, you could daily wear, all that sort of stuff. But these jewelers, they literally know that because of how jewelry is marketed, that they can charge high premiums on low purity gold and just tell you you're getting a durable chain out of it. This chain is 91.6% gold. This chain, 14 karat, is 58.5% gold. Okay, I bought this for like, I think like $500 to $600. I'm gonna just say $600 for now. All right, if you look at the price of buying this brand new, then yeah, you might see something like $830. Does that mean that if I sell this, I'm gonna get $830 back? Fuck no. They're only gonna pay for the gold in it, which is again the 58.5. So they're probably gonna hit me with a number like, I mean, after weighing it, I'll give you 300 for it, something like that, right? Versus this, if you have a high purity one like that, and you want to sell it, you will make your money back and then some. And so that's the thing, is I always tell people, you buy what suits your skin tone, because I know that the color of high purity is what throws people, right? But even if you don't end up liking your high purity piece, when you go to sell it and you make your money, most people are happy with that. Like, it's still a win-win. It's like, oh, you know what? I probably looked washed in this. I'm gonna buy platinum instead, or white gold, whatever it is. And then you go sell your high purity gold piece, and you made a profit off of that. That's not happening with your low purity pieces until like 10, 20 years later down the road. So just kind of keep that in mind. Gold, of course, like, people go for looks about things, but I definitely want to emphasize that, like, take the value of it seriously, because like, it's like, having something high purity like that, if for an emergency fund, whatever it is, and you making your money back on it, you will be happy about that. There's no regrets to owning something with value and getting that value back from it if it's not in the vehicle you wanted it to be in.